Sports Card Nation, the hobby is the people. Weekly news and interviews, it's your number one source. Sports Card Nation, the hobby is the people. Sports Card Nation.
Welcome to another stocked and loaded episode of the Sports Card Nation podcast, the show that brings you all the important hobby news, discussions, debates, opinions, info, and interviews with key hobby and sports dignitaries. Also, if you're good, you know we are going to give away something. Now, here's the guy that wanted the cards more than the gum. John Newman.
What is up, Sports Card Nation, episode 151. Happy Friday, or whatever day you are listening to the show. We appreciate it. Got a great show today. Got some good news in the hobby. At least I feel it's good news. Upper Deck is keeping the NHL license as they both agree to a long-term deal, and the press release very glowingly towards Upper Deck. So looks like Upper Deck is going to retain that hockey license, and I think that's the way it should be, in my opinion. So that's good. We'll go in a little more detail about that in the Hobby What's Up section. Happy to welcome a new sponsor to the Sports Card Nation family, a very well-known, reputable company, Greg Morris Cards. Does a lot of consignment stuff, does a lot of buying. They buy vintage, pre-war, tobacco cards. They even buy modern graded cards, do consignment. Very reputable, very known in the hobby, and happy to have those fine folks as a new sponsor here on Sports Card Nation. So a warm welcome to them. Maybe eventually we'll have someone on from that company in the future Sports Card Nation podcast. On this week's Sports Card Nation podcast, he's been on Hobby Quick Hits, the sound from the main stage from Chicago. A young man, 13 years old. His podcast, Sports Card Second, does a great job with that. Jacob Burris, a rising young star in the content creation space, and gotten to know him. He's a great young man, passionate, enthusiastic. Wrote me about a month before the National. Said that myself and Brody were his two favorite podcasters, and inspired him. Really kind of hit me in the feels. Had him come up on the main stage in Chicago at the National with myself and Brody, and hopefully created a memory that he'll never forget. I think that's the case, but haven't had him on in this setting, and I've been on his show a couple times, and does a great job, and it's getting better every week. Every show episode I listen to, he's getting more polished, more skills. His skill set is improving, and I better watch out. I'm going to be in trouble. I might already be in trouble for all I know. But great young man. Happy to have him on the show. We're going to talk a little bit his thoughts on Fanatics, maybe what he'd like to see, collecting on a kid's budget, content creation as a young man, and going to be a real interesting conversation with Jacob. And great kid, and enjoy talking to him anytime I do. And if you know me, you know my stance and platform on kids in the hobby. It's very important to me, and I love to see it. We're seeing more and more of that, and I think that's good. And I just did a show here in Syracuse. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about it in the Hobby What's Up section, but saw a lot more kids too as well, and had a great show on top of that. So it was in a great mood. Things are going very well here, and happy to report that. So without further ado, let's get this party started.
And here we go.
Time for this week's
Incoming!
product releases. All right, me again doing the new release product schedule. Before I get into that schedule, as always, keep in mind with COVID and shipping issues and some port issues, anything could be delayed or pushed back. You just never know. But this is what's on the schedule. On today, on the 29th of October, 2021, Leaf autographed football jerseys. Also today, 2021, Topps update baseball. Also today, on the 3rd of November, 2021, Bowman Inception Baseball, one of my favorite products whenever it comes out. Also on the 3rd, 2021, Panini Mosaic Quick Pitch Baseball. Staying on the 3rd, 2021, Topps WWE Heritage. Also on the 3rd, 2021, Upper Deck AHL Hockey. We have an AHL team here in Syracuse, the Syracuse Crunch, which are the minor league team of the world champion Tampa Bay Lightning. Also, on November 5th, 2021, Leaf Metal Pop Century. November 5th, 2021, Panini Chronicles Baseball. Also on the 5th, 2021, Panini Prism Racing. Also on November 5th, 2021, Topps Triple Treads Baseball. The 5th is going to be a heavy release day. I'm still on the 5th, 2021, Topps WWE Transcendent Collection Wrestling. Get your checkbook out there. And we'll close with, we'll go to the 10th. On November 10th, 2021, O-Pee-Chee Platinum Hockey. And also on the 10th, 2021, Topps Stadium Club Chrome. If you've heard my shows long enough, you know I'm a huge Stadium Club guy, regular or Chrome. So there's your new releases. Like I said, a little disclaimer, with stuff going on in the world, with shipping issues, the pandemic still, anything could be pushed back or delayed for various reasons. So just keep that in mind, but choose your weapon and happy ripping. It's time for the Hobby What's Up, where we go around the hobby world and tell you all the latest news and breaking stories from the hobby we love.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
All right, lots of news this week. Let's start with what I'd probably call the biggest news of the week, or right there for arguably top store. We're seeing all these licenses trade hands here, mostly Fanatic's way, but one is not going to be, and that's the NHL license. That is going to stay with Upper Deck. They've announced an extension. It's being termed, quote, long term. No disclosure how long or whatnot, but reports are that it's for a 5-year minimum. 5-year minimum. This will also extend now to NFTs that Upper Deck's going to be doing in the hockey space as well. My thoughts on this, to throw my 2 cents in, I think you probably could guess, but happy that this is the case. I don't think it's a good thing when one company gets all of them, and I think Upper Deck, and I'm not just saying this, but has done a great job with hockey cards. Hockey cards, some of the stuff Upper Deck's produced has been some of the most aesthetically pleasing looking cards. Not just by hockey, obviously they have that, but I'm just talking of any cards out there. They've really done a good job with design. So I'm happy that they will get to continue that and continue that relationship, and we're still going to get some Upper Deck hockey cards. Speaking of Upper Deck hockey cards, Tim Hortons 2021 and 2022 will be in your Tim Hortons coffee shop soon in Canada. $1 a pack with a beverage purchase, or $1.99 if you don't make a purchase. And I am jealous of you, Canada, because I've gotten Tim Hortons hockey packs in the past. Again, these Upper Deck produces these cards, and they are some sharp looking cards, and the inserts and parallels out of them. We have Tim Hortons here in New York. The problem is they do not carry the Upper Deck hockey pack. So I don't know if anything can be done about that. It's been like that a long time. I'm assuming it'll be the same again. But man, I'd love. I tell you what, I drink Tim Hortons coffee, but if they bring the Tim Hortons hockey packs to our Tim Hortons here in the States, I'm gonna be all coffeeed out going there. So much. So Upper Deck, if you're listening, make it happen, please. Can we get some Tim Horton hockey packs stateside? All right, on to some Topps news. Topps has announced they will be doing a NFT card, if you will, every day, one day after the previous World Series game. So a NFT pertaining to the World Series game the night before. I'm not an NFT guy, but I'm only speaking for myself. If that's your thing, the day after each World Series game, there will be a specially produced NFT. Staying on Topps, after 16 years, a brand is being brought back in 2022. Topps Pristine. I remember that sort of fondly. We're similar to Finest. Has a Finest look to them, but they have some of the cards are encased in like a Magtite type holder. They're bringing this back. It's been 16 years since we last seen Topps Pristine. I got a feeling, just with Topps' licensing about to run out, we're going to see a lot of this in the next couple of years. Is that good? Is that bad? I guess, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We'll have to see. I like Pristine. The only thing I'll say is it's just, to me, a little bit higher end. It just has a Finest look to it. So, not opposed, but I got a feeling we're going to see some back from the dead Topps products the next couple years. All right, another license trading hands, if you will. You recognize that sound clip. That is WWE Wrestling, formerly belonging to Topps, is now in the Panini camp. So they gain a license with WWE. They'll be going up against, almost like a wrestling match, AEW Wrestling, that was now signed with Upper Deck. They didn't belong to anyone else. Upper Deck got the exclusive to AEW. So Upper Deck, AEW, Panini now has WWE, and Topps has lost another sport, if you will. So not good on the top side, but good for Panini. Let's talk about something not so good for Panini, unfortunately. The Better Business Bureau of Texas, where Panini is based, has issued what's called a consumer warning against Panini, meaning they've gotten a plethora of complaints about business practices against Panini. If you guessed, most of them were pertaining to redemption. Don Pardo, tell them what they won. That's what most of the complaints are, but not a good look when the Better Business Bureau is issuing what is called a consumer warning. That is a sort of a red flag to do business with a company at your own peril. So not something Panini wants to have happen or wants to see. Here's talk about irony. The 2021 Donruss Football Factory sets are on sale. They come with a 5-card exclusive parallel pack when you make the purchase through Fanatics. Talk about irony there.
A long-trusted name in the sports card business, Greg Morris Cards has been buying collections for double-digit years now. He is looking for vintage, pre-war, tobacco, and 19th century cards. If it's old, Greg wants it. He's also interested in modern cards graded by the reputable companies. Greg Morris Cards also offers consignment options as well. For more information, head over to gregmorriscards.com, turn your cards into cash now, and follow him on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Sports Card Nation! It's now time to chop it up with our featured guest on the one-of-one card shop guest line. Let's go!
I'm not going to lie. I'm really excited to have this next young man on the Sports Card Nation guest line here. But before I intro him, he's sort of been on the show before because he was on Hobby Hotline. I recorded. We did a main stage thing at the National. Myself, Brody the Kid, and this young man I'm about to have here on Sports Card Nation. So he was on Hobby Hotline, but this is his first ever appearance on the Sports Card Nation side of the house. And I think it's time to have him on. He's 13 years old. He's got his own podcast called Sports Card Second and doing great things with that. And so without any further ado, let's welcome Jacob Burris to the show.
Thanks for having me on, John. Finally, just kidding.
Yeah. It's good to have you on, man. I listen to your show every week, and you do. I gotta say, not that you need me to tell you this, you're getting better every episode. Really, you're gonna put me out of business very soon here. I don't know why having you on. I should be mad at you. No, I'm just kidding. But you're doing great things, man. You just had Dr. Jim Beckett on your show, which was a great episode. That's always nice to have someone of that stature on, and I know you're getting to know him a little bit, and you'll get to know him even more, and that's cool. But welcome to Sports Card Nation, man.
Yeah, I'm super happy to get on here. I've had you on my show, so it's definitely exciting to come do a home and home.
Yeah, the home and home. So we like that in podcasting. So yeah. I got to ask you, man. You're in the 20s, I believe, in your podcast. You do a weekly show. You're starting to get more guests on. What made you start a podcast? When did the thought pop in your head? And kind of talk, for those that don't know, kind of explain how the Sports Card Second really became Sports Card Second.
Yeah, so really, I had actually been running a blog that not really anybody knows about. I haven't posted on in a while, but I had run a blog, and I was just I feel like I'd been listening to a lot of podcasts, sort of some MLB shows, also Sports Card Nation, Fat Packs, Wax Pack Hero by Mike Summers, really good as well. I listened to those, and I'm just I feel like it would just be fun to do a podcast or a YouTube channel or whatever. And actually, so I had been sort of researching how to do it. And then I heard an Anchor ad on your show when you were still with Anchor, and I was just oh, you can make a podcast that way, that easy. And I just downloaded the app and basically start a podcast. Start out recording into AirPods, episode 1, the origin, and I sort of learned a couple of things after that episode. But really, here I am. I think I'm about 34, 35 episodes in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically it started out sort of just might as well do this. It's just sort of for fun. And now I'm here with Dr. Beckett, John Newman. And
Yeah, me, I'm not on the same. Listen, let's clear up any kind of any kind of doubt. I'm not on Dr. James
gosh.
Beckett's level. I'm just glad I know him when he talks to me sometimes. So, but no, all joking aside, he's a hobby icon, a hobby legend, and but more than that, he's a great human being.
Yes,
so,
he's such an awesome person.
Yeah, but go ahead.
So I've had, I'm getting guests now. I mean, since the national, basically since going on the main stage, I realized, like, I really can't have guests on the show. I'd really just sort of messed around with a couple friends just to do an episode or two. But now I'm having podcasters on. I'm getting guests almost on a weekly basis. So I'm trying to. And it's been a lot more fun getting guests on. Obviously, the hobby is the people.
Yeah.
A little plug for you on your own podcast.
I owe you $5. I'll send that. When I send you your podcast guest card, I'll throw that $5 in there too. But no, you make a great point. The hobby that's how I came up with the tagline. Yeah. It's just really, I was on another show and they asked me, like, that's a great tagline, man. How'd you come up with it? And it's really a boring story. I thought the hobby is the people. It's really, and there's no real like aha moment other than it just makes sense and it's true, and the rest is history. I like what you said. You said, man, I heard your ad when you were with Anchor. Man, if that guy can do a podcast, I could do one too. It's like, so, which is true. If I can do one, anyone can do one. But and then you didn't start out with guests, which is kind of the same trajectory I went on. When I started, it was just me, and then I listened to those episodes. And I'm like, we need someone else on the show because this guy's not that interesting or good. And then I'm like, wait, that's me. I'm like, truth hurts sometimes. So then we started getting guests on. And what you'll find, and maybe you're finding this out already, Jacob, is, at first it's going to be a little more difficult. Not that it's hard, but it'll be more difficult at first. And once you get going, I went from having to chase people and try to tackle them to get them to come on the show to a point where it's hard now. Like I'm not being cocky about it, but like, hey, I like to come on, and I gotta sort of like schedules people. I guess that's obviously a good problem to have. So it just takes a little patience. You got to build things up, but works out in the end. And I've listened to probably, if not every episode, pretty close to them, and you've really polished what you do, and it's. I'm not related to you, but I've gotten to know you. I know you've asked me some questions. I've tried to help you out as much as I can and as best I can, and so. I take a little pride in that, and to see how much you've improved here. Like you said, you're in the episode 30s, and like I said, I'm going to probably be out of business soon. But just promise me when that day comes, like maybe I could guest host sometimes on Sports Card Second. Maybe I could read like a commercial for you or something, or do like the intro. Like I could be like Ed McMahon. To your Jack Darson. And then you might be too young to get that, but look it up on YouTube. You'll understand what I'm saying. But no, you're doing a great job. All joking aside, what's the now that you're 30-something episodes in, what's been the toughest part? What's kind of, not that it's tough or hard work or but there are difficult moments. What part maybe is a little difficult that you didn't really think about or realize until you started doing the show?
Okay, so really, I mean, just at the start, obviously, there was no guests really, like just sort of just be like, yo, you want to just do a podcast tonight or whatever, just my friends or whatever. But really, I honestly think getting guests is kind of hard, like just to track them down. Right now, I do not have any social media, so that kind of makes it a little tough. But I do what I can. I find websites, whatever. So getting guests is kind of hard when you don't have social medias. You can't have DMs and all that. But Yeah, honestly, the toughest part is probably getting guests because social media is a major part of being able to get people to join nowadays. So, ever since I started doing guests, that's one of the hardest things.
Yeah, it's true. It's a good point by you. Then you got to coordinate times. They can do it this time, and then maybe you
Yep.
can't, or vice versa. It's tough. I had a job I'm no longer at where I worked to 6 p.m. And so everything had to be, later. Now I have a job where I work to 2:45, and that sort of opens that window up for I can schedule some earlier interviews if need be. And so, you obviously go to school. And so, unless, if I was you, I don't know if this might give it, I don't think your dad's going to like me telling you this. I would schedule interviews during school days, during school hours, and then tell my dad, like, hey, I'd love to go to school today, but I got an interview at like 10:30.
Oh gosh,
So
he's
I
gonna
guess
listen
me
to
out
this
of
and be like, he's gonna be listening to this and be like, that Newman guy's feeding bad ideas.
there's snow days, and then we can call these interview days. Here in Syracuse, we have kids have snow days in school when we get bad weather. You can make interview days, and So if you and if you need someone to sign, like, hey, please excuse Jacob from school yesterday. He was doing an interview. I'd be glad to sign that excuse pad. So
Yeah.
going to step aside for a real quick break, but we'll be right back with more with Jacob.
The Sports Card Shop is your small-town local card shop with a global reach. Located in New Buffalo, Michigan, the shop is one of the most accessible in the Midwest. In addition to being an authorized Panini direct dealer, the Sports Card Shop carries all major trading card brands, including Topps, Upper Deck, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and more. With all that new wax, 500,000 singles, and showcases full of graded cards, you're sure to find something great for your collection, whether you're just starting out or a seasoned collector. The Sports Card Shop is your one-stop shop. So call us, come see us, or visit us on the web and social media. Our phone number is 269-469-0140. Website is thesportscardshop@moco.com. The Sports Card Shop is part of the Moco Retail Group, connecting sports, the hobby, and people around the world.
Hi guys, it's Max from the Sports Card Shop once again. Our exclusive offer for Sports Card Nation listeners this week is 2021 Recon Basketball Hobby Boxes for only $349. To purchase a box, just send us a direct message with the code SCN3 on Instagram or Twitter @_ the Sports Card Shop. Now, back to John and Jacob. Keep up the good work, guys.
Sports Card Nation is back with Jacob Burris. So, we talked about the difficult part, which is scheduling interviews and getting interviews. What's been the best part for you? What's been, like, you knew it was going to be fun. I mean, obviously you wouldn't do it if you didn't think it would be somewhat fun. But what was kind of maybe a pleasant surprise? You didn't realize that part was going to kind of be cool.
Okay, so there's kind of two parts to this answer. The first part is when the guests respond and say they will be glad to come on the show. That is just super fun. And then getting them on the show when they come on is super duper fun. Getting to meet all the different people. And then the second part, like, just this thing is just like the most fun thing. Like, basically, because of my podcast, I was able to go on the main stage at the National with this guy right over here. And
I don't know how that happened. I'm still waiting for that check that you said you were going to send me. But no, it was great. And to give a little backstory for those who might be listening that don't know this kind of how that really came about, I'll give the short version of it. You wrote me a nice email. It really hit me in the feels, as the kids like to say, and basically saying that myself and Brody the Kid, were sort of inspirations to you as far as what we do and in the hobby. And, and when I read it, obviously, if you know anything about me, and I think you do know about me, Jacob, and other people do too, kids in the hobby are an important platform to me. As you know, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm still a big kid, but age-wise, I'm not a kid anymore. And I got started as a 7-year-old kid, and we need the kids. I'm getting older. I'm not going to be here forever. I hope we're here for a lot longer, but that's part of life, is that we're not going to be here forever, and so we need that next generation to come up behind us, whoever they are, young men and women, both, to kind of take that baton, almost like a relay race, and run that race forward, and then in turn the next generation coming up behind you guys. And so when I got that, and you said how old you were, and you were doing a show, and I immediately checked it out, and I showed my wife that email, and she goes, "Wow," I was like, so I got a wow from her, but all joking aside, I love feedback from whoever, but that one got to me. And then I was thinking, I knew the National was coming up. In responding to you, I asked you if you were attending. You wound up where you were going to be. And then I just thought, man, I'm going to be on the main stage with Brody, who's the same age pretty much as you, or pretty close. And I'm like, how great would it be to have you up at some point during that show and get to talk to you? And here it is, your first national. And that's really how it came up about. I don't know who was more excited, you or me. Brody was somewhere in the middle. That guy's been on the stage a lot for his age, and so it was old hat. But that kind of stuff, man. The hobbies is supposed to be fun. It is fun, as you know, and you just talked to Dr. Beckett. His line, I say the hobbies, the people, and his line's very good too. Where with hobby, this is the greatest hobby, and it really. I'm biased, but it is, and I believe every word of that that Dr. Beckett said. And here you are. It's the greatest hobby, first national made. I mean, that's the hobby. That's having fun, making memories. Hobbies of people, meeting people along the way to make those memories with, and was something I'll never forget, and I'm sure probably. You won't as well, and hopefully it's not our last times on the main stage. And like I said, when you put me out of business and you're up there every year, maybe like every once in a while, every once in like a couple of nationals, you can bring me up and say, "Hey, remember this guy? It was a long time ago, but he used to do a show," and no, it's great, man, and. What are your future plans with the show? Obviously going to keep doing the show.
Yeah.
But what do you want? Like, where do you see the show going? Or I'm actually just looking for ideas to steal for this show, but I'm just kidding. But where have you looked that far ahead? Like maybe what you want to do or add on or change or do an addition kind of thing?
Yeah, so right now, there's a couple of short-term things and a couple of long-term things. So right now, one thing I'm working on is a YouTube channel. You'll have to be listening to my podcast to know when that drops, but that is coming soon. Right now, I'm also trying to work on equipment. That is something that's kind of important to me. I really want to put out quality shows for you guys. And then for long-term, I do want to eventually start making money off of my podcast. A little bit. Right now, it is ad-free, but eventually there will be sponsors and monetization. That's one of my main future goals. Right now, I just sort of want to keep it fun. I don't feel like I need sponsors. I'm 13, and there's not, honestly, I don't have enough listeners right now to make very much at all. But really, that's some of my goals. But really, the thing that I really, really, really want to make happen is the equipment. I'm working on that right now. But yeah, the quality of my shows is really important to me because I know that the better the quality, the more the quantity, as in people that
Yeah,
listen.
no, it's true.
So, yeah.
And you know what? That's a testament to you, Jacob, that you care about and take pride in what you're putting out there, and that's something to be said to that, right? When Sports Card Nation the first few episodes started 3 years ago, or almost 3 years ago. The equipment I had then is not what I use now. So, and that's just sort of a rite of passage, right? And you're like, hey, I want to do it better. Like, this was okay, but okay is not going to be good enough. I want it to be better. And then you get better and you want it to be even better. And as time goes on, there's new technologies, better stuff gets released, and you sort of want to upgrade. And that's just a natural progression. But to hear you care about that speaks a lot about you, the person, you, the podcaster, that, hey, now it's fun to do this. I enjoy it. I'm having a blast, but I also care about the consumer on their end too. I want them to get the best product I can deliver. And that's important. And the fact that you feel that way, like I said, speaks to your how you are and who you are. And that's a good thing. And, Christmas is coming.
Yeah.
You can put a PS5 on there and then whatever microphone
Exactly.
you want, and so there
Hey,
you
you
go.
forgot about baseball cards too.
Yeah, baseball. Listen, the other thing I want to mention, because you mentioned it, obviously when Sports Card Nation started, we didn't have any sponsors initially. Obviously now we have actually quite a bit. Now there's going to be, I'm not, if you know anything about me, Jacob, I don't mince words and I don't sugarcoat stuff. There are other shows, I'm sure, and other podcasters that will view a show that's sponsored in a negative light, like, oh, he's doing it for the money, or I don't do it. I'm pure. I don't do it with sponsors. Here's what I say to that. If you have a passion for it and you're not going through the motions and you care about the hobby, and I think you do, I know I do, and if someone wants to sponsor the show, I'll even say this, and probably 80% of our sponsors were unsolicited. In other words, they contacted the show, email or me somehow, and said, hey, we want to get involved with Sports Card Nation. I'm not gonna lie, I've turned down sponsorships because the product or whatever it is doesn't really go well with the platform. Maybe they weren't a hobby item. Maybe it wasn't something I believed in. So I don't shill for anything if I think it's not a good product or a good service, or it's not really, they're not going to benefit from an ad on my show. So where I'm going with this is, if you get sponsors, don't worry about what anyone else says. You're doing it for the right reasons. When you watch TV, there's commercials. Yeah, we don't like them. I get that whole thing. They make TiVo for that, or where you can fast forward. Well, same thing with podcasts, right? When a commercial comes on, you can kind of skip 30 seconds ahead and get right back into the show. So if that's the direction you go, it's fine. And like you said, this is not, let's be real. I think we're not breaking news here. This hobby is not necessary. While it's the greatest hobby, as Dr. Beckett says, but it's not the cheapest hobby.
Yeah, it's not.
Said by a lot of people. And so to offset, to participate, and there's nothing wrong with you're putting your time and effort and work into the podcast, and why not? There's costs involved. You're going to build a YouTube channel. Could be some costs there. You want to get new equipment. There's costs there. StreamYard. If you don't have the free model, which I don't, I have to pay a yearly price for that. And so all these things can add up. So, having sponsors, some podcasters will under their breath kind of think you're a bad guy, and that's their business. But if you're doing it for the passion and because you love the hobby, we got bills, and don't worry about it. Do what you got to do, and as long as again, at the end of the day, it's what kind of show you're producing, right? And that's what it's about. So that's my 2 cents and my little soapbox rant about sponsorship. And and reason being is because we're let's be real, we're a pretty heavily sponsored show, and I've heard things be said. I don't really doesn't faze me or bother me, but I wanted to just kind of give you sort of a public 411, if you will. All right, enough about podcasting. You're doing fine on your own too. You don't need all this half great advice from me. All right, speaking about sponsorship, let's take a quick break to hear from one of our great sponsors, but we'll be right back after that.
Hey everybody, have you heard about Collectible? It's the one-stop shop where any collector can buy and trade affordable shares in some of the most rare and valuable sports cards and memorabilia in the world, starting from just $5. From 1952 Mickey Mantle PSA 10s and Wilt Chamberlain's iconic rookie uniform to one-of-one Patrick Mahomes RPAs, rare LeBron James logo mats, and everything in between, Collectible is creating never-before-seen access and opportunities for investing in the hobby. Just download the app and sign up with the referral code SCN to get your first share free. Please note this is not a recommendation or solicitation to buy any security. All investment decisions should be undertaken after doing your own research.
Sports Card Nation is back with Jacob Burris from Sports Card Second. Let's talk about some hobby stuff going on. I don't have to tell you about the Fanatics news. You very well know all that's gone on with that. I'm not going to so much ask you what you think about it, but if you had Josh Luber's cell phone number and you called him up and you said, "Hey, it's Jacob Burris from Sports Card Second. Hey, Josh, how you doing?" And he says, "Hey, Jacob, what's going on?" And he said, "Hey, hey, give me some advice. What would you like to see Fanatics do now that we have these licenses? You're my voice for the hobby. You're my spokesman. You're the representative. I can't talk to a million hobbyists. That's impossible. Yeah. I don't have that kind of time, and I really don't want to talk to a million hobbyists. So I'm going to talk to you. Tell me what we should do, what you would like to see." So you're kind of the representative for the hobby. You have Josh Luber's ear. What would you tell him you'd like to see them do that maybe the current brands aren't doing, themselves, or maybe not doing a good enough job in?
Yeah, so Fanatics, so honestly, people might slam me for this. I really don't care.
Doesn't matter. You do yourself.
So I honestly think Fanatics should not buy any of the brands, even though look, I love Topps too. Like that, I should put that on a T-shirt. I love Topps too.
All right, this is the end of the interview, Jacob. This is not the answer. No, I'm kidding with you. But go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead. Go ahead.
It's fine. So, like I said, I love Topps, but if I'm Fanatics, I really don't want any of the brands to get in my way. I want to just start fresh, and hopefully that the people like it. Honestly, it is a change. Look, we are completely changing. We've had the same company for 70 years. 70 years. That is a long time. A long time. And, look, if I'm Fanatics, Topps started over in 1951. They completely started over, new brand, new look, and it was a change from Goudy and Cracker Jack, in tobacco cards. So now we're all the way up here with Fanatics 70 years later. Honestly, if I'm Fanatics, I just want to start fresh. Maybe you do want to bring back looks like Topps Chrome, Donruss Optic, Topps Prism, whatever. But do I really want to buy a brand? Honestly, probably not. I feel like Fanatic should start fresh. But it's just like people are just cannot, like, I don't know, just people don't like change in the hobby, especially when you've had a company for 70 years. That is kind of a tough change. But I mean, there are collectors around right now that have been around since the Topps 51. Like, they've literally seen everything in baseball cards ever. So, I mean, just the change is tough for people. But look, if I'm Fanatics, not buying any brands, bring back those looks. Bring them back. Do Fanatics flagship. Do Fanatics Chrome or Prism, whatever you can call it. But just start fresh, honestly.
I'm not saying you're wrong, and that's the beauty of the hobbies. We each have our own way we view things. I just want to ask you a couple questions. Where was Topps born?
Brooklyn.
Where was I born?
Brooklyn.
So, no, I'm kidding. I was born. We both were born in Brooklyn. Top's a little bit older than me. You've probably heard me say this. I'm just busting your chops a little bit. I have a soft place in my heart for Topps. Listen, they've made plenty of mistakes. They're sort of culpable. Maybe the licensing being lost. I'm not defending them to that level, but maybe sentimentally because, that first pack I ever opened was that 1979 Topps baseball pack. I'm sort of sad to think that might be the end of Topps baseball as we know it. So I'd like to see, I'd like to see Fanatics buy Topps and keep some of those brands alive. But I also see your point too. Let's just get a fresh face in here and see what they can do. You're not wrong. I'm not wrong. These are opinions. I'm just kidding with you with the whole Brooklyn thing, just for a laugh. And I wanted to see if you knew too, just touching you out there. What else would you? What besides saying, hey, listen, do this yourself, go on your own here. Besides that, what would you tell them as far as maybe what they produce, how much? Maybe what you want to see come out of these packs, that along those lines, if he was listening to you.
Yeah, so I mean, like, if you're gonna do a flagship, you obviously have to do basically a mass production of it. So I mean, I really don't care what happens out of there. Just make it kind of look cool, nice inserts. Just really what people want is a sleek design and a huge set like that. But if we're talking like autos and stuff, parallels. Honestly, there is way too many parallels on, like, just have to be honest, like, select, like, what is Panini doing with, like, the tiger stripe, elephant skin, giraffe? I'm like, who wants a giraffe skin prism? I mean, apparently a couple people do because they still make them. But, I mean, like, just do, like, the silver, the gold, the orange, like, just do, like, basically do the 101 obviously there has to be 101s.
Yeah.
Let's do number to 10, 25, 50, 100, 150, and maybe a 250 or something. But honestly, there's way, 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 way too many parallels. That's something I would like to see change. And here's something that I know people cannot stand with Panini or Topps, honestly. Topps is a little better about it than Panini. But is the player worn or the event worn or all that, or no specific game or event? Look, there is never going to be a company that can pull off something where every single jersey is game worn. Like, look, I know people cannot stand it right now, which I don't know why people can't stand it now because it's never been a problem until now. But, I mean, it's just like there's never going to be a company that's going to pull it off. I mean, it's basically impossible. So as memorabilia cards go, at least, okay, look, don't just take a jersey and cut it up like no specific. That is something I don't like. But at least make it player worn. Just put it on the card. So, and then autos, I mean, I know people hate their sticker autos. That's never going to change either. So, I mean, really, you can't change much, honestly, the parallels. And if you can do a little bit with the jerseys and autos, just do it. The high-end stuff, I'm good with what we have. I mean, some of it, if you could, okay, here's something. If you could somehow set, like, a price that would be not like Panini Donruss is like $800 for a basketball Panini Donruss is literally like $600 or something. Like, can we like have our base sets like actually what they're worth? Also something else, like I know people like get mad like, oh, my value, like I opened Flawless, got $10 worth of cards. Like, guys, opening cards is basically a lottery ticket. You're never gonna, I mean, unless you pull the Zion RPA 101 or the Logo Man, whatever, you're not gonna, almost never gonna get your value back. So I mean, just maybe put a little bit more value, but that's really all I could say. I mean, really, you can't change much because you can't change it. So, I mean, just stuff that people hate, you can't really change. So that's honestly just really the parallels. And we have low end, we have medium end, we have high end. I mean, as long as it's affordable to somebody, which everything is. So, I mean, that's all I would change, really.
All right, now I agree with you on more points on that round. I'm not gonna lie about it. You hit the parallels right on the head, Jacob. Way too many. But they're important. We need to have them. I get it, and I think you really summed it up for me very well. It just have some order in there, right? We don't need all these weird, zebra, pinstripe, camo, giraffe, leopard skin. Who knows? I know I'm leaving stuff out. Get your colored parallels in there if you want to do a camo. I think it's just a plethora of all these parallels. I remember you're young. I remember you do a rainbow of a player. Let's say it was 10 to 15 cards. Now to do a rainbow, it's like 100
40
cards.
Yeah.
It's not even like you can't even attempt it. It's too daunting.
No, it's impossible.
Like, I'm a fat guy. I would probably try to run a marathon before I tried to complete a player rainbow. And so it's become difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. Some people can do it, but it's definitely going to take a lot more money in today's parallel landscape because there's just so many cards. I want to see that kind of. I don't know if it'll ever be exactly the way it was, but closer to that than what we have now. So yeah, I'm waving the same pennant with you there. Everything else you said on that go round, I pretty much you're speaking for me as well. And so get a hold of Josh Luber and let's go with this, Jacob.
Yeah, one more thing about parallels
I
forgot to mention is the dumbest thing. They literally have 10 101s. Why don't you just make one parallel number to 10 instead of having red, orange, blue, yellow, green, purple, red, orange, blue, yellow, green, purple. Like, they're all 101s. Like, just make one 101. They're 101s for a reason. There's one, not 10. Yep. One. My dad has this Kyle Pitts card he bought, and he was like, yes, 101 Kyle Pitts auto. Let's go. And then he looks it up, and there's 10 other colors.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. It's one of the reasons is cool it is to pull a printing plate, right? You get a 101 printing plate, and then you realize it. Yeah, or 4 or 6 or 8, depending on the product and how many printing plates there are. I mean, it's still a cool thing to pull, don't get me wrong, and I've pulled them, and it's a cool movement, but it's not the same as like you just explained that, where if you truly get a 101 where it's just that one card, and you're the only person who has it. Like, you want this card? Mm-hmm. Here's my email. I'm the only one you're going to get it from, and that's if I trade it or sell it. Other than that, I control the destiny of the card. I'm with you.
Going to step aside for a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back after these messages.
Pastime Marketplace has a line of graded card cases that are waterproof, airtight, dust-tight, and hardened to protect and organize your valuable collection. Each of our cases come with pre-cut and pre-formed foam, so you don't have to cut and tear the foam when you get your case. The pre-cut foam inserts are sized to hold PSA, Beckett, SGC, and CGS slabs, Store it all safely and securely with a case from Pastime Marketplace. Check them out at www.pastimemarketplace.com.
We are back with Jacob Burris. All right, I got to ask you this. I'm an old guy. You're a kid, but a very brilliant and bright young man. We're seeing more kids in the hobby. At least I feel that way. I just did a show here in Syracuse this past weekend. There was a good amount of kids there. I was glad to see it. How do we, again, I'm going to make you the spokesman now. How do we get, and maybe this is to Josh Luber too, since they're going to be taking over a majority of these brands and releases, but it doesn't have to be just for him, just in general. How do we get more kids in the hobby? How do we keep this positive trend going? What would you suggest or do?
Yeah, so getting kids in the hobby, that's super important to me. I'm talking to a couple of people right now, helping them out get started, but this is super important to me. When I started the show, that was kind of what I wanted to reach out to. That's why I'm having these people on, to be able to explain stuff from a kid's eyes so kids can understand it, and kids want to think this is cool and tell their friends that it's cool, and their friends tell their friends that it's cool, and so on. But something that I love is the Panini Kids Crate. That is something super awesome. It's a set price, and only kids can buy it. So, or you have to have a kid with you at least. So, that is the greatest idea. And especially to have your kids with you, it would just be chaos. Especially with products like Big League that are meant for kids, it's just case breaks on YouTube. Even I'm just why do you even want a case break Big League? It costs nothing. But, especially Topps, great job with Big League, especially the last 2 years. They have done a lot better with that product. Kids Crate is a great idea. Keep doing that, Panini, please, until you're out of business. But if I was gonna keep or try and get kids in or keep kids in, the affordable products, I would make a couple affordable products that look really cool, have inserts. Especially with Big League, though, you have a chance for autographs in there. That is awesome. So, keep the autos, the really cool inserts. Just print stuff that's cheap, but, make the cards look awesome. With the defensive Wizards cards from Big League, I'm sure you've seen a couple of those.
Yeah.
They're literally awesome looking. They're just basically on cardstock. I could go and buy at Walmart, but you might as well, they just look awesome. Just make the cards look cool. That'll draw kids in, I promise you. And keep the Kids Crate. That's just something awesome. Literally the greatest idea in kids hobby history is the Kids Crate.
Yeah, I echo what you said. I think you can make, I think a company, whoever it is, Topps and Panini for the next couple years, Fanatics when they take over with their licensing agreement, I think you can make a kids product at a price level and still make some really cool looking cards, have autos in there, have game used cards in there. Like you said, no event used, no, hey, he threw this on top of 10, he wore 10 jerseys at the same time. This is a piece from one of those 10, these companies can make a halfway decent product at a price level kids can afford. I know some people out there listening to this and going to say, yeah, but then flippers or resellers are going to buy them all up. And then, if they make the product too good, the adults are going to scoop it all up and, the price is going to go up. I get it. I'm not saying that's necessarily completely untrue. But, if they're geared towards kids, like you said, the Paninis, what are they called? The Kids Crate. You have to be a certain age to be able to buy them. And they have some sort of way of doing that. So they can do something along those lines and still make a product that looks cool. There's cool inserts, cool autos in there. And they can do that. If we want to come up with a name for Fanatics version, I got one for it. What do you think of this, Jacob? Fanatics Fun Factory.
Oh gosh.
All right, your homework is to come up with what Fanatics Kids crate should be called.
Yeah.
All right, you can say it on your show. You can
right.
you can talk about me asking you the question, and then give the answer on your show. What should the
All right.
Fanatics kids sort of exclusive product, be called? And who knows? And maybe they'll hear it, like it, and you get there's your first sponsor right there.
Ooh,
And
Fanatics.
and a big one,
They'll
one,
just be
right?
sending me like everything.
Yeah, then you won't have to buy as much.
I know. I'll never have to buy anything.
Yeah, another product they like to see. This is tongue in cheek, by the way, for those out there that don't get my humor. Let's have like mother signed cards. The big controversy was that Luka Doncic's mother signed some of his cards. Let's just have her sign some cards. Like, this is Luka Doncic's mom's autograph. Like, she's in like the new Fanatics basketball.
That would be the greatest thing ever invented of all time.
And put Dak auto pens in the football release. There's no deception. This is a Dak auto pen. Dak didn't sign it. A machine did that he has in his workout room. Signed this card, but you got it. It's still a rare. It's still not an easy pull, and put it in the top loader, and they can do it with other players' relatives, right? Like this is James Harden's uncle signed card. Whatever, they can have a lot of fun with it. So I'm half kidding, but you never. Who knows where the he's going next?
Yeah, like let's see. Would you rather have a Miles Bridges on a LaMelo Ball card, or a LaMelo Ball auto on a Miles Bridges card?
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, Miles Bridges signed this authentic LaMelo Ball card.
They could each sign. They could sign each other's card opposite.
Yeah, so the photo, Miles Bridges. It's
an error done on purpose, and so when you pull the ball and you think you hit the ball and you got a Miles Bridges, like, oh, it's just a Miles Bridges. And when you pull the Miles Bridges, it's like, no, it's really a LaMelo Ball. It's like Bizarro world. But we're obviously poking a little bit fun at some things that in the last few years in the hobby. But it would be kind of funny to see like relatives autos.
That would be really funny.
So who knows? Who knows what we're going to see next? We've seen celebrity autos.
Yeah.
I know. Donruss. Panini did that with the football.
Yep.
They put like fans of the game, and they had celebrities wearing the colors of their favorite NFL team, and there's some autograph versions of that. So it's not uncharted waters. We're kind of just poking a little bit of fun, but who knows what we'll see next, and and that's kind of coming down the home stretch here. The last question I have for you is, you got a lot more hobby left in you than I do, so I'm going to ask you. I mean, where do you see this hobby going? Like, where do you see the future? No time limit. It could be the next 5 years. It could be 10 years, 20 years. I mean, obviously the hobby's in a good spot right now, with a lot of new people in it, a lot of people buying, selling. Do you see that, number one, I guess, continuing, Jacob? And where do you see long-term? If I, told you to put on your analyst hat here, where do you see this hobby going here in the future?
Yeah, so really, obviously, like, we are getting so much technology by the month, by the day, honestly. PSA is obviously going in with technology. We've seen HGA with their technology, which we don't need to talk about HGA, but
that you'll never be invited back out if you talk.
Yeah, that might spark a little bit of a rant from this guy over here.
Yeah, but I hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, but anyways, so obviously we're going to have more technology into the hobby. Honestly, we're going to start seeing that injected into cards. Obviously, we've seen that with, like, Prism, and then, honestly, Prism was, like, a huge technological thing, sort of, after it got popular. Obviously, early years wasn't really that popular, but really, we're going to see a lot of technological change. The grading companies are going to change. We're going to probably see grading companies. Unfortunately, the prices are going to stay high because they don't want the base card revolution again with LeBron 2018-19 revolution. I honestly didn't think that would come out like that, but it did.
Yep.
And then we've got Fanatics coming in. How are they going to do? I have no idea. Hopefully they do well. But it's honestly something that I'm just going to say over and over is the technological changes. It is going to change a lot of things. Unfortunately, we're going to see some cards are going to be switching over to all NFTs, and some companies are just going to be NFTs. Like, look, I am not exactly a big fan of NFTs. I have played Tops of Bunt and all those games, but like NFTs, just like, I don't know. I feel like the companies just want to keep moving stuff over electronic. Like we're seeing all these like Tops Now releases electronically. We're seeing Tops do like their basketball thing with NFTs. We're seeing Panini do all their blockchain, which Panini is scaring me a little bit because they had their Prism on blockchain already. They had their UFC Select on blockchain. So that kind of scared me a little bit. I was just like, don't take those products now. But I mean, we're going to see a lot more NFTs. We're going to see, obviously, the buying and selling is going to be the same. With all our technology we have, we're able to use like Card Ladder, Sports Card Investor, Market Movers, all that to gauge our cards and view the up and down, like stocks. Honestly, look, my dad is like huge into financial stuff. I know with the stock market how it goes, but like cards are not a stock market. Like, please, cards are not a stock market. Look, they're the flippers. Like, look, I get it. Like, people are going to make money off it, and they're always going to be the flippers. They're always going to be, cards are treated as real estate and stocks. Like, there's flipping all over the place and buy and sell immediately. But look, that's just never going to change. With all the technology we have, that is definitely not going to change. There's honestly going to be more and more of those to be able to make. It's honestly kind of easy to make money right now with all of our technology we have, but that's never going to change. And then really, it's just I'm just really, really, really hoping that our wax, it needs to just, like the NFTs, I just keep coming back to it. I just really do not like NFTs that much.
You probably heard my rant on NFTs.
Yes,
I'm sort of the old man on the porch. Like, if I can't hold it, see it, touch it, it's it's not even a picture in a magazine. At least the magazine's a real piece of paper, right? If if it's just somewhere out there in the digital world. I can say I own an Honest Wagner just in digital form. It's not the actual card. I got to have that thing, in either on my desk here in the showcase, or in my hand, or in a binder, or it's got to be real to me. I don't get the NFT thing. Plenty of other people like it and do it, and that's why it's still a viable commodity, if you will, and to each their own, right? I always say on this show, and hobby your way, hashtag hobby your way. While me and you don't like NFTs and maybe won't be buying those, other people do, and we'll stick to the genuine articles. I guess is the friendly way to put it.
One more quick break, but we'll be right back with more from Jacob Burris.
Iron Sports Cards is your #1 source for all your PSA and other grading submissions. Their elite status improves turnaround times. Heck, they even provide the card savers. Their chat rooms provide updates on all your submissions. They also offer wax options and single cards to cover all the bases. Check them out on Facebook at Iron Sports Cards Group, or on the web at ironsportscards.com, or even give them a call at 1-877-IRON-PSA. Rob's got you covered.
We've returned with more from Jacob Burris. I mean, do you see? Just kind of hit on one more point. We're seeing a lot more new people get into the hobby. Some people don't like that. I kind of do. We were all new at one point or another. Do you see that trend continue, or you think we'll hit a plateau level? You think we'll hit a level where 10 people will leave today and 10 new people will come today, so we'll sort of be at the same level? You see a plateau?
Honestly, with how hot the hobby has been, like, just look back at 2019. Like, it was growing, but, like, the hobby, honestly, it's just going to keep growing. It's like inflation. Like, it's just going to keep growing, honestly. But, like, with how hot it is right now, it's just going to feel like we're going to sort of smooth out or go down a little bit. It's just because we had literally the hottest news, records being broken every day. So, I mean, I feel like we are kind of at a plateau right now, but it may just feel that way because it's been just on fire, everybody going in at the same time. But, yeah, so that's honestly what I feel like.
Yeah. No, I don't. I think you're probably going to be right on many of those things. We'll see. The fun is, right? Some of the fun is seeing what's around the corner next and what's going to happen next. And you're a great ambassador and advocate for kids in the hobby, but more than that, for anyone in the hobby, right? The hobby is for everyone. I don't care if you're 92 years old, like myself, or 13, or 13. Like you are, right? We all can enjoy. We can all enjoy the hobby. It does not matter, male, female, old man like me, young man like you. We all can enjoy this hobby, and I think you do a great job. As I use two terms. You probably heard me call people advocates and ambassadors. Someone asked me, "What do you mean by that, John? What's an advocate and an ambassador?" And to me, what that means is someone who promotes the hobby because they're passionate about it, loves it, tries to help other people, tries to spread good info, positive info as best they can, help anyone out that's maybe coming into the hobby, new or old. Maybe, someone's been in the hobby and, hey, what's this NFT thing about,
Yeah.
And while I may not like it or you may not like it, I will explain it to someone.
Mm-hmm.
I won't trash it first. I'll just say, hey, this is what it is. It's not something I'm fond of, but you'll have to make that decision for yourself.
Yep.
To me, that's being an ambassador. You kind of, maybe you give your opinion, but you also don't try to talk anyone. You let them make up their own mind while explaining what's going on in the hobby. I think you do a great job. You're passionate to not just kids in the hobby, but anyone who listens to you talk about the hobby. I think that's important. You don't need me to tell you this, but keep going. I enjoy what you're doing. You'll pick up steam the more you do it, and I think you're seeing that already. And I look forward to have you on many more times. And when you're doing the main stage and I'm not getting invites no more, I want you to return. I want you to return that favor. You owe me a main stage up here. I'm kidding with you.
I do.
I'm kidding with you. You don't owe me anything, man. You're doing a great job, and keep going. As you know, if you listen to the show, I always give the guest kind of the last say where people can find Sports Card Second. I know you said you don't have any social medias at this point, but I listen to the show. But how can other people listen to that show? Give out all that info right here.
So right now, you can listen to Sports Card Second. Every single major platform: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, literally everything. I mean, basically, if it has podcasts on it and it's a podcast-driven app, it's going to have my show on it. Right now, you can contact me if you would like to just talk to me, whatever, ask me a question. Especially if you're a kid, please do. But if you're an adult, go for it. Ask me a question, whatever you want. It is sportscardsecond@gmail.com. One more time, sportscardsecond@gmail.com. That is always in my show notes. So if you want to head over there, subscribe, leave a rating, a review, and hit me up with an email, and I'll definitely be replying back to you because I love getting emails.
I got to ask you this. I got a big time you here. Are you on? I forgot what the name of it's called. I can look it up, but I'm not going to do it right now. We're recording this live. There's an Indian podcast platform in the country of India that I'm on.
I might be on it.
You got to check that because you haven't made it, Jacob, until you're on the Indian podcast platform. I am. Or the show. I should say the show is. I think when I check my demographics report, there is 3 people downloading it off. I think it's called like Servan or something like that. Okay, there is 3 people. There's 3 people in India listening to Sports Card Nation. Shout out to those 3 folks. Thank you. I don't know if they downloaded it by accident. Might have to click something else. But thank you just the same. But all joking aside, it's fun to be on all these platforms, as you just said. Yeah. And you must be doing something right. If you're on all those platforms. So,
yeah, right.
Keep doing it. We'll have you back on, and we'll see. And like I said, when you talk to Josh Luber, tell him all that stuff because I agree. I agree with most of it. So
all right, yeah.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, John.
Be good.
What doesn't one of one card shop do? From box, case, and personal brakes, there's always fire being pulled. They offer bulk grading subs, and their large store located in Strongsville, Ohio, offers an incredible selection of sports cards, non-sports, and authentic autographed memorabilia. Steve and family will treat you right. Check them out on Instagram at One of One Card Shop or on the web at oneofOneCardShop.com.
All right, I'm going to wrap episode 151 up. I want to thank my guest, Jacob Burris. Man, what a great and poised young man. And if this is the future of the hobby, we're going to be all right. I feel a lot better. These young folks doing great things in the hobby. And, we have to pass that baton, pass the torch. They're going to be here after us to carry this thing forward. And I feel better with young folks like Jacob involved in the hobby. I want to thank you out there. Without you, this show would not be possible. And November 10th will be our 3rd complete year as we start into year 4. And man, I know I say this all the time, but I say it all the time because it's true. When I started this thing on November 10th of 2018, I had absolutely no idea where it was going, how long it was going to go for, what it was going to be like, where we would be. And quite frankly, I know I sound like a broken record, but if you would have told me the experiences, the people I'd meet, the downloads we'd have, the people I'd have on the show, where the show would take me as far as travels go, and everything along the way, right? I wouldn't have believed you, and it's a blessing. I don't take for granted at any point. Every day, I'm very thankful for where the show has went, and again, the things it's brought me and my journey in the hobby. Right, the hobby's the people. And the people we meet along the way, and the stories, and the friendships, and the travels, and the how we acquire this, and how we acquire that, and everything in between. And this for me, Sports Card Nation's obviously birth other shows such as Hobby Quick Hits, Breaking Cardboard, being involved in Hobby Hotline with a lot of great people, including a lot of new people added to that show. This is just, very blessed from that 7-year-old kid, 41 something years ago to now. I'm I'm just very, very blessed, and I want to say thank you. And we're gonna keep going, obviously, with the show as we go on to year 4, and hopefully, bigger and better, or at least maintain. And my passion is as strong as it's ever been to produce and do the show and talk to everyone we've on it, and I love it. And I'm in a good place now with a new job, less hours, home earlier. Things are good, thankfully. Knock on my glass desk here, and really appreciate everyone out there who've helped get me to this point. So thank you. I'll end with be safe, be well, and never forget the hobby is the people. Every single one of us in the hobby.